Since mid-August, Bitcoin's price has done virtually nothing. We are at the same prices as mid-August. But one of my favorite altcoins, CHAINLINK, is now up over 20% this week. Now, I know there's a lot of great fundamental news for CHAINLINK, but I'm not going to talk about all the news and events and stuff like that that have come up recently. I'm going to talk about what you guys came here for, which is the price action, the price predictions in the market analysis. This month, CHAINLINK has gone from $5.70 to $7.50, and this did not come as a surprise at all. On Twitter, I was talking about this on September 18th, that it was very likely that CHAINLINK was going to retrace back up to the top of the range. And in my Patreon Discord channel, I talked about a CHAINLINK setup on September 7th. I made a video discussing when CHAINLINK was at $6.30 roughly, that CHAINLINK was very likely to see a major move up. So in my Patreon Discord, we caught this swing. By the way, the 70% discount in Patreon will end at the end of September. You guys have really just a few days left to take advantage of that deal. So what's pretty obvious about this CHAINLINK chart on the daily is that for 500 days, it has done really nothing, just a lot of sideways action. And plenty of people have, of course, come out to criticize CHAINLINK for its lack of activity. But anybody with a brain would look at this chart and say, well, what did the rest of the market do while CHAINLINK went straight sideways? Well, the rest of the market, the rest of the altcoins dropped 90%. And CHAINLINK stayed around that $7 price for 500 days. And if you compare CHAINLINK to Bitcoin, when Bitcoin had this major drop during the FTX collapse, CHAINLINK actually held its low right here. It held that $5.50 level. It didn't have a lower low. There's something very positive about this chart. CHAINLINK retained its value. It met fair value in the market. And I just want to drive this point home because people's perspective is generally really twisted. They think that if a coin isn't going to the moon, then it must be terrible. But while your favorite altcoin crashed, CHAINLINK did not. So that's the point you got to remember here. From my Patreon post on September 7th, we were discussing this setup here that CHAINLINK would at least look to retest above $8, the range high. And the setup that we were discussing was that if CHAINLINK was going to break this daily high right here, then we would likely do a standard retrace up towards that $8 level. And we are in the middle of that move right now. We broke this high at $6.46, that range low, and we are now making our move up towards our upper fibs. When you take your fib extension and you fib from that high right there to the swing low here, it gives you some fib targets that line up perfectly. They coincide perfectly with the historic range highs for CHAINLINK. So at the very least, what I think CHAINLINK is going to do right now is head up above $8 and probably hit something like $8.32, if not $8.75. In the very short term, keep in mind that CHAINLINK is already sitting right near our first fib target, $7.62, the 2618. From this high to this low, could act as a short-term resistance. We have seen historically the price reject this zone before. So I'm not saying that you need to just go all in on CHAINLINK here and that it's going to go straight to the moon. There is always possibility for volatility. The CHAINLINK could see epic swings before reaching those targets. Keep that in mind. Now, with all of the positive fundamental news for CHAINLINK, it is also possible that we could break out of this range. If we take out our daily MACD for CHAINLINK, right now what we have is a MACD that is showing positive momentum. We are looking to actually see continuation right now as our MACD histograms are continuing to see higher highs and greater expansion. Now, looking at the daily RSI, we are starting to get up towards our overbought zone. This is something to definitely keep in mind. The last time we hit our overbought zone, that was our peak, right? A lot of times during this 500 plus day range going sideways, we hit overbought and we reject from that exact point. So as CHAINLINK enters that overbought zone, have a degree of caution. We may end up seeing some rejection, some resistance. Doesn't mean that the run has to end necessarily, but that is the zone where profit takers will be stepping in. We do have some room still till we reach overbought. It's likely that CHAINLINK is going to reach the $8 level, $8.32 as our first target, and then $8.75 as a possible higher target. Now, zooming out very far here for CHAINLINK, this is still the daily chart. What I have is the macro downward sloping resistance line, and this is log scale, and we're looking at the outermost resistance using our two top peak zones. And we also have the 500 SMA. This is the longest moving average that we have just recently crossed above. Chainlink is breaking the 500-day SMA. Getting above these longer term SMAs is usually a sign of a macro shift taking place. Now, going back to the downtrend line, you could be looking at this as a breakout target. I'm sure that this is going to be used for other traders in terms of market interpretation. Now, if you fib from the last swing high to swing low of the range, the breakout target comes in around $10.15, $10.14. That is the 1618. That is the first major breakout target you'd be looking for. And this macro downward sloping resistance line comes in at about $10.90 right now. So the area of interest comes in from about $10.13 to about, you could just say $11 to give it a whole number. So in a breakout scenario, you're looking for something along these lines, right? A test up here. And it's very likely that if we do get that high, which is sort of the higher end of the range here on a breakout, if we do actually exceed the resistance and break here, it's likely that Chainlink is going to end up coming back down to retest lower levels before breaking out at a later date, right? So if we do get a breakout, it would definitely be smart to take profits if you guys are trading this. This is like the best case scenario in the medium term, in my opinion. This is a pretty realistic scenario where we would reach that resistance, but ultimately come back down, probably even lower than where we are now, before breaking out in 2024 for real. Though, of course, for the short term, it's a little different. In the short term, you'd be wanting to take profits, possibly even at $7.64 to be really safe, but ultimately $8.32 or $8.75. And that may be another range where we end up hitting resistance and going sideways, maybe even coming back down, right? Because Chainlink has been going sideways. So unless we actually get a breakout, I would be looking for a retrace back into this zone. If we can't actually get above our resistance, look for, a full retrace back below $7 most likely. So this right here on the screen is a realistic short-term scenario. And this right here is a pretty positive or best case medium-term scenario. Again, looking towards that $11 mark, $10.90, in between $10.15 and $11 or so is that zone of interest if we do actually break out before retracing and then waiting for the halving to get super bullish. So this is just the analysis that I have right now. I am in Chainlink longs, making really good profit at the moment. My Patreon members also got into Chainlink at $6.30, around that zone. And this was one of the most obvious setups I saw in the market recently. This is my tweet from September 18th, where I was saying, Chainlink's starting to break out. This is one of the more obvious setups that I see, very straightforward. And since then, $6.60, of course, we're now at $7.50. So it's going well. As of right now, it's nothing to go crazy about or get too excited about, because as of right now, it's just a standard retrace towards resistance. But once again, if we break this, I'm looking for prices closer to $11 along this macro resistance here. So guys, that's my Chainlink analysis for now. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, smash the like button, subscribe to this channel. And guys, be sure to sign up for Kraken Pro. That is the new sponsor of this channel. And also the Discord 70% discount will end in a few days. So take advantage of it while it's here. If you take the annual membership, it's dirt cheap, guys. It's so cheap right now. You'll have it for a lifetime or however long you want to have it. I appreciate you all watching. Subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.